Hey guys, Kev here. I thought I would do a quick-ish video. I say quick-ish, I have no idea how long this is going to be, there's a lot to explain. But I thought I'd do a quick video about how I went about making the trailer for the website. So this is After Effects. I am just going to show you the intro first. So the introductory part, which is the first 12 seconds, I set up as a separate composition to start with, so that's why it comes off as quite short on here. But yeah, so that is nice. um, yeah, so font, we ended up going with Libel, which is the same font that we used for the logo. That took a lot of discussion amongst the staff members, but I think we made the right choice in the end. There's quite a few renders that I went through trying to get people's opinions on what to change within the trailer, but I think this was a good final decision. So we came up with that font, and what I did was I'm going to go really quickly with this so not to make a massive video. So I apologise if I go a bit quick and leave people behind, but it's just the nature of going hastily. Yeah, so I parented a camera to a null object, which meant I then had the ability to move freely around this enormous background that I created as if the camera is panning. So actually, let's talk about that ink effect first. So the ink effect comes from a package called Riot Gear, and originally it looks like, if we turn off the effects on it, it looks like this originally. So it's just a black background with a smokish looking effect coming out, just erupting from the side of the screen. Obviously that doesn't look like it represents Big Red Barrel exploding stuff in any way, shape or form, so I wanted to make it look a bit more fiery. So I played with the colour curves and managed to get quite a nice fire effect going on for it. So then that happens. So that yeah, but that was still against a black background. So what I did then was use color keying, which is green screen technique for those not in the lingo. So yeah, I just keyed out all of the black to make that transparent, and that was the result. The background itself is a texture that I had to change. Again, I played with color curves. Originally it looked like that. So if we just turn the fire effect off there. Yeah, so that's what it looked like originally. It was grey, bits of black shade in there, just not very interesting at all. But then I added some curve adjustment to it. Excuse me, I'm drinking a beer right now. I may belch a bit. Yeah, so I added some curve adjustment to it and altered the colour to a much more sort of, I guess, kind of looks like the whole Gears of War background on the logo screens. That wasn't intentional, but it's nice that came out like that. It's this nice shade of like dark reds and blacks just sort of textured around. It's a good look. I like it. Yeah, so turn that movie back on. Then with the camera set up, I opted to go for some panning shots. So then I panned down and set up the further amounts of text down there. Obviously, this is all done with using keyframe animation. So each of the camera positions were keyframed in. You can see those if you really want to look. The null object is the thing that the camera's tied to sort of dolly it around, and that thing's position is hit by these keyframes. So going along over to there. Obviously, I doubled up the animations of that the flame effect and changed it around. So if you zoom out here, you can actually see the full screen bits that weren't used in the final screen. You could actually move those around if you really wanted to. You can put the flame anywhere, give it a bit of a rotation. I could have had it anyway. That's rotating on a 3D plane at the moment. But yeah, could have done a lot with it. Decided it looked pretty good up there. And then that scrolled across to here, at which point you scroll up over the background and another two flames coming out with a bit more scrolling. And then a nice little reveal fade to there. Okay, so that's the intro. That's the first 12 seconds. That took me approximately 7 hours of work. So if anyone ever tells you that editing video and creating these sort of trailers is, oh, whatever, it's 40 seconds, piece of piss. Wrong. 7 hours that took me. Now, yes, so once the intro was done, I pre-comped that. Was ready to go. We can move on to the rest of the bulk of the video. So coming in, we got footage from Mass Effect 3. I just downloaded some trailers from Game Trailers HD and just found a brief sort of 3 to 6 second clips that would suit my needs given the audio cue that I was using, which was a royalty-free orchestra track that I added a couple of drum hits in just to get that beat going towards the end of the video. As you'll notice, it kind of speeds up the frequency of the impact. Once I got that track ready to go, I had my list of audio cues. I knew exactly how many cues I had to work with and how many trailer pieces I would need. So what I opted to do was pick games that are coming out in the near future. Mass Effect 3 was first, then came, this is from Bioshock Infinite, this part. Then you move over to here and you got Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, sorry, Tekken Cross Street Fighter has not even been shown yet. But yeah, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, move across to here. Oh, I needed that Heihachi shot. That is just raw, and switch to SSX. That's a cool little shot of SSX coming down the mountain. SSX then switches into Uncharted Golden Abyss. And then that goes into... That's not very apparent, but that's actually a shot from Starhawk. And then that goes into what I think is one of the most iconic pieces of trailer content from the last year. That's goddamn Grimlock doing his Transformer Dinobot thing, and then Big Red Barrel logo. So we're with the bulk of this trailer. That's the action trailer's going on in the background. There's not really much to say about all that. I just spent some time, picking certain segments and then chopping those together into one coherent sequence. The font we had to change around a bit and mess around with the font style and the colour. What we ended up going with was this font called Franchise, which is a slight... It kind of looks like our libel font that we use in the logo and in the original part of the video, but it's a bit bulkier, which serves the rest of this video well because libel didn't work due to its inherent sort of narrow character nature. We also changed the font color to white because that seemingly punched pretty well with the rest of the video footage. I set up every single thing that comes up here, so bringing you the latest news, followed by objective reviews, extensive reviews. I made sure there were 2 lines on each, so that I could. And this was from advice from Danny. He advised that I make the top line smaller, bottom line bigger. So I did that, and it looked really nice. I've obviously done some keyframe animations to bring these into the frames at a sort of... There, you can see as you go through here, that comes in for an impact. But once it impacts, I set up some more keyframes so that the letters in the words would actually track. So as you can see, the characters in latest news get further apart from each other as that goes on. And the top line, rather than tracking, I just decided, hey, let's send it left. And that comes out with a really nice sort of slowed, sort of interesting animation there. I think it works really well for the overall feel of the video. And that goes across all of them. Coming up with what each of these said took a little while and a little back and forth on the staff, or from the management staff. But I think we got there in the end. This quite a nice little series of things. This is boom, which brings us to Big Red Barrel. Now, the logo, originally that was on a black background. So if I find the layer here, yeah, so originally it looked like that. So it would go, this is boom, Big Red Barrel, shimmer across, black background. But as you can see, there's bits of shade in this that ground it in a white image but don't work on black. And when Danny designed this logo, it was done with white background as its intentional purpose. So he advised, look, just put a white background there, see what it looks like. So banging that in, and yeah, that looks way better. The shimmer still works. The shimmer actually is, I think a lot of designers would probably have my head for saying this, but that's a lens flare effect. And it's not immediately apparent because I made it quite subtle. I tucked it in behind the layers, so it only alphas behind the logo itself. It doesn't affect the rest of the layer. So I set up some keyframes for the lens flare. I started off over this side and then tracked its position to the other side, and then increased the opacity equivalent of it. It's actually called the blend. But yeah, I just dropped that down to 0 as a very quick animation towards the end, so it fades out completely. Because there was originally a bit of an issue where, as it got to the end here, it sort of stuck there, and you could see glimmers throughout the logo that just looked a bit weird, so I ended up having to fade it out properly, and yeah, and then that's the end of the video. That was a very brief explanation of everything I went through, but it took me about 4 days in total, with a lot of back and forths from the management staff and the design staff to sort of throw our ideas around, because there's no way that I was going to do this all on my own. The original video that I came up with as sort of this is my first draft effort, it didn't look anywhere near as good as this does now. It's mostly the same, but there's just sort of a lot of font choice and colour choice and just sort of certain animation movements that we threw back and forth and worked on, and now it finally came out to this. So I just wanted to put this video up as a way of saying, look, this 45-second trailer took me a really long time. I think we're all pretty proud of it. It's going to serve the site well, and yeah, this is my hubris talking, but yeah, I think it's a pretty good trailer. So yeah, that was the making of the trailer. I hope that was useful to anyone who is interested in video editing / production, and for anyone who just watched it because they fancy watching some more content, thanks for coming to BigRedBarrel.com. Keep coming back. There's going to be more. Alright, thanks a lot, guys. Catch you later.